I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt as if I was suffocating. I remember waking up and taking a deep breath and realizing that I was in the hospital.
Joseph Barnett will never forget the day he almost died from a fentanyl overdose.
I didn't even know how I got there. I didn't know what had happened.
Joe grew up in rural Ohio to a stable, traditional family and was raised in church. But when his grandmother died of cancer when he was 13, he became angry at God.
It took a really big toll on me. We were really close, and I didn't understand why such a more or less perfect woman was taken so early. My life completely changed. My thoughts changed. My everyday life changed. I stopped wanting to go to church. I stopped wanting to do things with our family.
The event sent him on a course that spiraled down for many years.
I tried smoking marijuana. When I would ride to school with my friends, they would be eating pills. It was the Percocet and the Oxycontin era when they were really big, and got introduced to heroin, which was a cheaper method, but the same effects. I just knew from that point that that's what I was going to be doing.
The death of several friends to drug overdoses and 2 arrests were not enough to pry him away from his addictions.
Once the fentanyl came around, it started killing people. I mean, it seemed like once a week somebody was dying. I wasn't scared to die, even though I knew that if I died, I would go to hell. I knew that.
Joe entered a rehab program after 1 incarceration and was even able to stay sober for 5 years, until he ran into an old friend.
I just saw somebody walking down the street that I used to use with, and that was all it took.
In October 2019, Joe bought what he thought was heroin, but was actually pure fentanyl.
I was with one of my friends, and had he not been there, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
His friend drove him to the ER. Although it was not verified, Joe believes his heart stopped on the way to the hospital. It took hospital staff 8 bottles of Narcan to get the drugs out of his system.
That's what was my ultimate wake-up call, was I had a second chance at life, and I decided that I would stop using that day.
Shortly after that, he met Deidra, who was a former addict and now born-again Christian.
He had a little bit of that party boy mentality, kind of, but he was still sweet and, sensitive.
Around that time, Joe attended a service with his mother.
Every Sunday she would call me and ask me to go to church with her. And so I came to church with her. It was almost like somebody came and just sat down beside me and said that they would never let me go. When I heard the voice, I sat up and looked around, and there was nobody even close to me. I was sitting by myself, so I knew that it was God talking to me. For the first time, I had heard God's voice, because the whole time that I was away from church, that was the only thing that I asked was, I would pray and ask God to just show me that you're real, or let me hear your voice, or let me know that you're here, and he did.
After this experience, he was able to stay clean and sober, this time for good.
Since then, my life has changed a lot. I'm a lot happier. We're both working. We have everything we need. We have a church family. I had just recently went back to my old job. They were shocked from the person that I used to be to the person that I am today.
Joe and Deidra are now married and raising their baby, Joe Jr. They serve in their local church and hope to one day spearhead a drug recovery program there.
You can come out of addiction. You don't have to be stuck there for the rest of your life.
He's a good husband, a great father, and he holds his values true to who he is, and I love that about him. It's just beautiful to see today compared to who he was.
Jesus filled that void in my heart and my soul that nothing else can compare to it. Nothing can quench the want except for God.